2020 was a weird year in general. Tom Brady leaves New England, which is something we never really expected here. Then he goes on to win a Super Bowl. He's got Gronk and AB in the mix as well, while the Patriots stay home and miss the playoffs. Mariah, Janos, and Evan Lazar here. Just from the Patriots' perspective, I feel good. I feel happy for Tom. I'm not going to say I feel good. I feel happy for Tom about this Bucs win. But how is Patriot Nation supposed to react to this?
Yeah, I think there's a mixture between happy and anger because we did a video, I think it was last week after the NFC Championship game, or I guess 2 weeks ago now, where I said, look, the Patriots, this iteration, this version, this roster of the Patriots was not going to win a Super Bowl this year, even with Tom Brady as the quarterback. But at the same time, you watch that game last night, and I'm going to kind of, contradict what I said 2 weeks ago, and you see Tom Brady throwing passes to Rob Gronkowski and Antonio Brown and have a great defensive performance, a very Patriot-like performance, a very Patriot-like formula that the Buccaneers used last night. So it's tough to sit here and say that couldn't have been the Patriots, because certainly if things had gone differently, and I think it starts with Gronkowski, right? If he didn't kind of fall out of favor in terms of what he wanted out of Bill Belichick and what Bill Belichick wanted out of him, and that led to his retirement on top of the injuries, certainly, and all that kind of stuff, then maybe we are in a position where Brady and Gronk are still doing this in New England, and it's hard not to kind of second guess Bill Belichick a little bit, or the process a little bit, and the fact that these were Patriots guys that were performing well there last night. Brady, Gronk, Antonio Brown to a degree. I think if Brady and Gronk are still here in New England, then maybe Leonard Fournette is the running back in the backfield with them as well. Mm-hmm. And then you obviously have that dominant effort by a defense. We've seen that script before from Bill Belichick in big games and in Super Bowls, certainly. So it felt like that should have been the Patriots. And I get that anger from people now, maybe more than I did a couple of weeks ago, because the game a couple of weeks ago, there was a lot going on with the weapons there in Tampa Bay and the defense there in Tampa Bay playing so well. But last night, the Super Bowl, that felt like a Patriot team out there. That felt like a Patriot offense. That felt like a Patriot defensive performance with a very game plan specific approach to how to stop Kansas City instead of just doing what you always do and hoping that works. So now today I feel the anger of, why wasn't that us? Why wasn't Tom Brady playing in his 10th Super Bowl as a New England Patriot? It's definitely going to be a second guess that Bill Belichick is going to feel for a very long time until the Patriots are competitive again.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. But I do feel like even if, say, Brady stuck around, Gronk came out of retirement and came back or whatever, or maybe just didn't retire, whatever that path would have been for him, I think we would have still been in a pretty similar situation as we are now, because that Bucs team has a lot more than just, Brady and Gronk. There's a lot to it. And this year we saw just how many holes are actually in this Patriots roster. Patriots Press Pass is brought to you by Manscaped. Get 20% off and free shipping using the code PressPass20 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com using the code PressPass20. Take the leap and join the Manscaped movement today. Now, you kind of alluded to it there at the end. We've already heard that the Patriots are trying to be aggressive in this offseason more than ever before. But after last night, I feel like there is no other choice. There's no way to play it safe, right? This has to have lit a fire under Bill to some extent to make some serious moves.
Well, you definitely want to change the narrative a little bit. I know Bill Belichick doesn't care about what we're talking about or what the media is talking about, but just in terms of, Brady had the limelight right now. I know Belichick's going to want to try to steal it back at some point with some big splash offseason move that gets everybody talking. And I think what you see with this is that, he has to come to a point where he realizes that, he's never going to get fired from his job. Bob Kraft is not going to fire Bill Belichick, but there will be a lot of pressure. And I'm not saying he's on the hot seat, because that doesn't really exist when you're Bill Belichick, but there's going to be a lot of pressure, certainly from this fan base, to turn this team around sooner rather than later. Because if you're putting together 7 to 9 seasons while we all watch Tom Brady compete for Super Bowls down in Tampa Bay, when he could have still been here and you didn't even need to get to this point, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be challenging Bill Belichick and angry at Bill Belichick. And it does lend itself to, okay, if we're 3 years from now and we're talking and Brady's been back to another Super Bowl and he's already won one in Tampa, at what point does it become a little bit of a factor? And at what point do people get angry enough that Bill is faced with a decision of maybe leaving the Patriots or maybe parting ways with New England, or maybe Bob Kraft feels like he's got to do that because of the decisions that were made in the kind of downtick of the dynasty and how we got here. I'm not saying we're there yet, but I think there is certainly a lot of brewing anger, brewing frustration in the fan base that we just had to witness Tom Brady win his 7th Super Bowl in a different jersey. And the Patriots are sitting here with the 15th overall draft pick at 7-9 without a quarterback, without receivers to throw to, with plenty of holes on the defensive side of the ball, really a roster that has a lot of work to do. So Bill's got a lot of work to do this offseason. I think the pressure is on him a little bit, as much as it possibly could be for a coach that brings 6 Super Bowls to a fan base. And there's definitely going to be a lot of angry callers on 98.5. There's definitely going to be a lot of angry callers into all the radio shows here in Boston. I'm sure we're going to get them in the comments section